and I'm not too sure whether it was the fact that she was, she just happened to be from Iceland, which makes it a better, more variety. If it was just the hottest babes in music, maybe it was different. But since it was the hottest babes of the world, they wanted more variety. Anyway, they chose her, and she goes swing. They gave her, 2 thumbs up, and I said, you know what? I guess I'm not the only one who finds her attractive, you know. And I mean, of course not. I mean, she's beautiful, but beautiful in her own ways, and then in every way at the same time. It's strange. It's very. One word about her is enchanting. She has an enchanting look. It's like when you look, when I first looked at her, I was like, wow, what the? It just completely blew my mind. I've never seen that. Maybe, when a child in Iceland or whatever, the first time he sees a, nigger or something, it's like, wow, what the hell? It's completely, just blew my mind. I've never seen anybody like her, And her eyes, too, man. She has, those, like, olive green eyes. It's like, wow, man. And like, I don't know, I figured, I'm not too sure of this fact, but I researched it, and, her eyes are slowed. I think that the word is called. Looked it up in the encyclopedia. Slow-eyed, and I have very similar. Except the only difference is mine do not go. My eyes are slowed here. It's just a flap of skin. Instead of having a double fold, it's a single fold. And hers stretches all the way down, like this. I don't know how I look right now, but I can imitate it fairly well. It goes down like that, and it has I think it's a shorter, I'm not too sure of this fact, but it's a much flatter bridge right here, and it's a wider gap, and it's obviously completely different than that whatever I see. And when I think and I look at other Icelanders, I say, they're more of a Nordic, Swedish type of, look, they don't really have that, Oriental type look. And I figure, how in the hell would she get a look like that, And I'm not sure if this is true. It might be even comical, but I'm well aware of the fact that there are Eskimos, okay, in Greenland, in Siberia, in all areas around the Arctic Circle. I've seen evidences of Eskimo population, and Eskimos are from the Mongoloid branch of the three major races, which are Mongoloid, Negroid, and Caucasoid. And it's been my belief, I'm not sure of this, that she has some Eskimo in her, which I find completely enthralling. I mean, that's great. Makes her even more interesting. But her beauty is just quite something exquisite to me. I've learned her face from, I mean, I close my eyes and I see her perfectly clear. I know her face more than most people do, that's for sure. Every line, everything, I see her and it just gives me a happy feeling when I forget what she's saying, and when I forget what I've learned about her. Just when I look at her, I see a little girl type of thing, sweet, innocent, that's what I want. That's what I want her to be, because she has many very aspects like that. Of, a child, like she's even been compared to child woman, because of her stage acting, acting like a little girl and this and that. An elf and mischievous. I mean, it's something. It really brings and I'm not just the only one saying this, because I've read a lot of interviewers who completely find her cute, so cute and sweet, and so she's different, physically completely different. Not the average. Because I remember when that show, when they were making the most average good looks of people, they put it in a computer, like about over 200 women, and they got like the average beautiful look, and that was not the. Curiously enough, all average proportions. They had a picture of all the average proportions, and then they have another picture of a non-average proportion, just a girl or something that has perhaps a little bit fuller lips, or perhaps a different type of nose, or perhaps a different type of cheekbones, and they genetically designed, and not genetically, but they facially designed, the best looking face, and then they had like over 1,000 people choosing on the computer which is the best face, and the best face that won most was the girl that had not the average, but a little extraordinary type of look, and that's her for sure. I mean, extraordinary. Her voice, I've never heard a voice quite like hers. It's music to my ears, really. Her accent, everything. Because you see, when you fall in love with somebody, all those little, the way they talk, the way they say it, not necessarily what they say, always, especially in infatuation, but more so how they say it, And it's something, It's what human beings, the attractiveness that we have towards one another and stuff. I see her as a little girl. I would like to see her like that. I mean, look, cute, spontaneous, spunky, happy-go-lucky, girl, smiling and singing, and I mean, oftentimes, like, she was like my daughter, just like, not really my daughter, but like, like me being the father figure type for her, in a relationship, if an imaginary. Anyway, December 10th is when I really realized to myself, and I was watching this with George and Ralph, and had a bit of the song Human Behavior, and Ralph goes, "Oh yeah, I know that song, I like that song," and then I said to myself, well, should I show them? Fuck it, I'll show them. So I showed them the recording that I made, and I found myself explaining her and this and that, and that was a realization to me that, you know what, I have a crush on this girl. I have a crush on this girl. And so I showed him the interview and the song. George loved the "Come to Me," the acoustic version. He loved it. He goes, "Wow, man, it's real great. It's real good stuff. She's definitely original and this and that." And we talked about my ideas of who she is, and I mean as far as physically, is Chinese or something. He goes, "Oh no, it's like this and like that." We had a little discussion about it. This is December 10th, 1993. The following day, I said to myself, I mean, that same very day, after everybody left and this and that, I said, you know what? I like this girl. Really like this girl. I had a crush on her. And that's where it all begins. And, okay, so that very same day I made the decision to say, you know what, I'm going to get her album. I want to, I want to listen to all her other stuff, So, I didn't have a CD player. I had a stereo. So I went to Circuit City. Boom. I got me a RCA CD player, $79. Boom. I went across the street, went to Peach's Music and Video, which now is a pet supermarket. I was I was a bit embarrassed, not embarrassed, but I was like, I don't know, it felt kind of weird, I'm a big guy and stuff like that, and me going looking for, what I thought at the time was like more of a, chicks music type of thing, and I couldn't really find it, and so I go to, one of the girls there that worked there, and I say, I was with my father, I remember, because I didn't drive at that point. And I was not embarrassed, but I was like, I felt a little weird, And I said, hey, I'm looking for a CD. It's from Bjork. She goes, oh yeah, Bjork. It's right here. I was like, oh, she knows, And boom, she gave it to me. I bought it right there. Took it home. I was like, whoa. I played it, all excited and stuff like that. I was like, there's a lot to absorb right away. I liked like 2 or 3 songs right from the beginning. And the other ones came in a few hours already. I listened to it like 20 times, right away, boom. And in a row. And I was like, wow, this is good stuff. And, because you get used to it. Just like with foods. You want to like something, you'll like it easily. 3 songs, like I said, 3 or 4 songs that I liked it, boom, right away. They were great. The others, clicked in a couple hours. It was pretty, it was an uphill type of thing. I was at the beginning. I was way at the beginning of the hill. I was very optimistic. And then I try to listen to the lyrics. I go, wow, man, this is strange shit. It's like, it's like poetry. So I tried to like think of it as poetry, like a puzzle, and I had to solve it. So I want to get more information about her and stuff, And so I got I got the Sugar Cubes video. I mean, CD. Listen to it. Listen to it. And it completely blew me away. It's a similar story. I had a few songs I liked right away. The other songs clicked in, and there was one song that took me about like a couple of weeks for me to like. It was Regina. I didn't like that song. I kind of hated that song. Because of NR's voice, it was so overpowering. It was quite an experience. And I sort of felt exclusive. I felt very exclusive because I didn't hear any of that stuff on the radio. I didn't see it on TV. Hardly anybody knew about it. So I felt like she was more exclusive to me. And I ended up getting more CDs and this and that. What started happening, and this is, let me show you what this is. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, this is the letter that came with the book, with the project. It's 38 pages. With this, it's 40. The front one, it's 40 pages. First page is to Electra. It came separate in a separate envelope. Okay. Take a look at it. Okay. One word happened to me. Anxiety. Something that never really struck me so hard. And I don't know if I should explain it this way or if I should read my I'm not sure how I should say this. Okay, I'm going to explain it. Anyway, this letter, it can be sent to her along with these tapes and stuff like that later on. So I don't have to read the letters. Okay, let me explain it. It's kind of hard to explain, really. It's kind of hard to explain. Okay, let me just break it down. Break it down. Now my mind's like a little bit of a blank because it's just so much information to just summarize it without really thinking about it. Hold up. Okay, plain and simple. I ended up getting more Sugar Cubes CDs. Eventually I got all of them, and one of my problems, I think, was that I took it seriously, completely seriously. Later on I learned that it was more of a joke to her, just having fun, this and that. But I took it like poetry, and I tried to figure out, I was like, wow, man, who is this person? And I got more into it. It's like, wow, man, and I was at a point in my life. See, I had nothing in my life really at that point. Just just working. My life was pretty much empty. Especially about the real feelings. I had my art and this and that, but at that time my art was like pleasing other people type of thing. This gave me something. Being in love, having an infatuation, okay, it's a euphoric feeling, it's a euphoric feeling, and I was very happy. I was like, had something to look forward to every day, and this is like a typical crush in the beginning. And so, being that I'm an artist, she did something. My throat. It just. She did something that made me happy. Her music, herself, her being alive, was making me happy. I felt like I should do something, like a form of something to show my, I don't know, my gratitude for her music, for her existence, or I show my appreciation of her, plain and simple. I wanted to make her happy as she made me happy. And I figured, okay, I'm an artist, so I'm not really a writer, so it's not like I can go into poetry and this and that. So I figured, okay, I'm going to make a work of art, a portrait of her, if you will. But not just an image of her, okay. I wanted to make something so inspirational, something so personal to her, something so personal to her that it touches right here in her heart. Sometimes she look at it and it's like, wow, man, something that moved her, something, like not just images of her, but of who she really is. Like in my mind, I saw in the beginning like a collage, of course images of her and stuff like that, but more of who she is, like of her life or where she came from, her story. I mean, this would have been difficult to make about somebody you knew, so to attempt such a mission, because I had very little information about her, so I didn't really know who she was. Now I have tons and tons of information who she is, and frankly, I'm still many times at a mystery as why. I know what, but I don't know as the why. And if you knew her, you would know what the why was. But anyway, something that would touch her soul, something that she would be grateful to me for, return type of thing. So I went out to see if I can get, I wrote to Rolling Stone, I wrote to Alternative Press, I wrote to all the, major magazines to see if they had it. That was not the correct procedure, I know that now, but I didn't know that then, to see if they had any things about Bjork and this and that, and blah, 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 blah. I only had one that was from Alternative Press, which I got later on, like a few months afterwards. That was just very small, about the sugar cubes. So I was very disillusioned at the fact that I really couldn't do this. The most I could do was make a painting of her, and that's not really going to mean anything. And so I was like, I really had set my hopes on, making her happy, and thus making myself happy. And then I figured I really couldn't do that. I got real sad. So I mean, of course, I would be. As henceforth, from the beginning of my acquiring all these CDs, I had been listening to them, day in, day out, hours and hours a day. But I was still doing that, but I was feeling very empty, like I had passed the peak, and now it was just like pointless, really, because I would listen to the music to try and see if I could figure out any hidden messages, any, that way I could learn more about herself. It was very confusing, very, very confusing. Oftentimes disappointing and disillusioning, and more oftentimes than not. So, I started feeling bad. I would look in the mirror and said, I can't do this. I really can't. I mean, I don't know her. How the hell can I do this? I mean, I can make a painting of her, but that ain't gonna mean shit to her, and that's gonna be worse than not doing anything else. So this went on for a few weeks. And I was still, I was practicing, of course. I was taking pictures of the television and, doing art with them, imagining, what she would like, something original, something experimental, something, everything in order to please her was the goal. But I was practicing this and that. I started getting anxiety. Every time I listened to her music, every time I would think about her, I knew that I had failed, and there was nowhere to go now but just down, because I had passed my peak with that, and she was so far away, and concerts. I felt worthless. I felt depressed, but more than anything, anxiety. I would be sitting in my bed, and I would listen to it, and I'd be alone. I was like, oh man, I gotta get up. I can't sit down. Horrible feeling. My heart would go like that. I've never had to face this at all. And so I was mad. I was angry, disillusioned. I didn't know what to do. You know, I got a few more interviews, on TV. TV was my greatest source of information at that point. Not anymore, but it was then. And I was like, what am I gonna do? And so I figured, okay. I felt horrible. And so I said, fuck it, I can't make this for her. I might as well make it for myself. So since I already had a whole bunch of artwork that I had made already, practice, work, I figured, okay, I'm gonna make this for myself, make it in a way that to document, to make. I was trying to help. I was trying to self-help. That's what I was doing with it. Because every time I was working on something, working towards a goal, it would ease down my my anxiety, because I was working on something. I wasn't doing nothing in the air, looking up and said, "What now? What now?" That's one thing I would say all the time. Now what? What am I gonna do now? It's over. Can't do nothing. But since I was working on something, it helped. That was very therapeutic. So I started creating something. I figured. I said, I knew I was obsessed with her at this point. So I said, this ain't right, man, because I was thinking about her all the time. I was having fantasy. See, before I would fantasize about her, okay, but I wouldn't fantasize about her in the fantastic sense of something wild and crazy, me and her being together and this and that. No, I would fantasize like very methodically, thinking, okay, it's 19 whatever, boom, I'm in Iceland, I'm her. Okay, what am I doing? I was trying to figure out who she was. This is before I got really disillusioned, and I found out I couldn't do nothing. So I would take into context every little word that she said, everything, take it into direct context, and I would go with it in my mind, with my imagination, thinking how this could be, and imagining, visualizing these things. Okay. And so I started spending a lot of time in my fantasy world, to accomplish this. After the disillusionment of knowing that I can't really accomplish this, I said, fuck it, I might as well, fuck it. Since I've been spending so much time in my fantasy world, but I've been trying to keep everything in line with the reality, fuck it, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna enjoy myself, indulge, in the fantastic world, everything, me and her together, living, forever, and this and that, fool's love type of thing, and this, this really made it worse, and I was doing this in many ways to look at her, because I knew I was upset. In the beginning, it was just to indulge myself. Then it was just to say, I need to get her out of my mind, this and that. And the only way I can get her out of my mind, I think, at that point, was to think. See, I saw her as such a reality in my life. Like, I'd be in constant conversation with her in my mind, this and that, and discussing this, and seeing thinking what her reactions would be, and this and that. So she had become such an entity in my life, so real. So I had to make her unreal, fictitious, So I went back into my fantasy world, like I said, indulging in everything, not for the sake of pleasure, but for the sake of making her unreal, doing completely absurd things, with her, like making myself feel like, I'm just like a schoolboy type of thing, and with a crush. This is stupid, and for me not to think about it that much anymore, the usual things, me and her being boyfriend and girlfriend, the usual things, young lovers think about. But a real fake and stuff. For me to say, this is bullshit. No way in the world. And, that didn't work. So I said, fuck it, man. I realized, she was in my mind constantly, and this and that, and I was sincere about it. And I was like, fuck it, in her face. That's the thing that would just get me right there. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna desentimentalize myself. So I had like hundreds and hundreds of photographs of her face all over my walls and everything like that. That way I would get sick and tired of, of looking at her face, and it would lose that magical sense. Okay, and this was a big step for me, because prior, remember, I never really did much portraits of women before, and only a number of occasions, because of the fact that scared and stuff like that, which I'll go into later, why I had a fear of women later. But especially when I got all those photographs and stuff like that, I was taking pictures of the TV, I felt like embarrassed to show my mother and this and that. I remember the first time that I took the photographs, my first generation of photographs, to get developed, and when I went to Big Island, she goes, "Oh, let me see." I felt like, oh shit, no, they'd come out bad and stuff, because they were all of her. I don't want her to think I was obsessed and, infantile and this, because I was already like 17 or something like that. I didn't want to feel like a little kid. So, second generation, third generation came, until I said, fuck it, let her know, I don't care. Everywhere on the walls, everything. Boom, 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 boom. I mean, I used the excuse of saying, no, this is, I'm making this project, so I need to have all my pictures, that way I can look at them, for the artist sense of it. But, in real life, it was to make myself sick of her. It really didn't work, I was actually feeling worse. And so finally, I was so fucked up that I said, fuck it, I had a lot of art, so I said, fuck it, I might as well assemble something, I don't know, for myself, really. Something to document because I was really, I stepped back and I said, whoa, man, I am fucked up, man, I'm really fucked up, and I said, like any opportunistic artist, oh, this would make a great project, and so I started the actual construction of it was very therapeutic, like I said, So I was documenting, very personally my life up to then, and the reason why I felt this and that, and that's what's all in the project, my sanctuary and dominion, everything like that. I'm not really going to touch on that now, because it's going to take up another few hours, But in this piece, I go about a lot of aspects of my life that I mean, she wouldn't even give a shit about now that I think about it. But it meant a lot to me, and I said, fuck it, I don't care whether she likes it, she doesn't like it. I'm making this for myself, It was a message. The actual piece, okay, the actual project was just a visual aid. It wasn't like, oh, look, this is art, this is my art. No, the letter was more important. It was just a way for the letter to stand out, a visual aid, And since I was an artist and stuff like that, the actual production of it helped me, It had many different levels in it, different images, and it had several interpretations of different things. It was very complex, and it was, most importantly, it was the first artwork that I had made for myself, and it was completely and utterly honest, and I didn't give a shit what anybody thought of it, because it was completely different than anything I'd ever done before. I was completely experimenting with new things, and in the spirit, of her, liking it from the beginning, so that just carried over, It was quite a time for me, and I documented every step of the way in my journal there, every step of the way. I remember, man, wow. And in it, I talk about my feeling, like my Madonna whore syndrome, my my contention levels, my everything, man. I talk in the project. It has a picture of my wall with all my photographs as an attempt for me to get rid of her in my mind. It goes about the cross. It's one of the major reasons. I might as well talk about it, because it's going to be evident. It's very strange. Okay, the cross. What the fuck is a cross? Okay. The first few pages talk about this and that. Something's called sanctuary and dominion. Okay, I created like this word. Okay, it's a place in my mind where I'm very tranquil and peaceful. I've always had that, like a place in my mind, very quiet, very laid back into myself type of thing. And as a kid, I remember when I was in 1990, I got into an argument with somebody. This is a brief summary, okay? I got into an argument with somebody over religion, okay? Over war and religion, and I said something I shouldn't. He said something he shouldn't. Anyway, I got hit with a stick, a stick. I think it was a 1x2 or something, you know, in the back, and it was argument over religion, and that was like a strange point. It wasn't because I was traumatized because I was, you know, battered or anything like that, because it really wasn't hurt. I just got a few bruises on my back, but it was more of the psychological part that, you know, well, you know, I got hit because of religion, and I was very into religion at that point. And it was like it was a wake up call type of thing, like weird. I was like, wow, how powerful, you know, what people think, you know, how people can change, how can a good person, because he was a good guy, you know, cool. And he did this to me, so that was like kind of weird and shit, you know, religion. And I made it into a cross because I remember, you know, when we were arguing, he was holding his cross in his hand, you know, and the reason why because he felt what he was doing was right, you know. I remember when I was telling him all the truth about his religion and this and that, he would hold that cross in his hand. I saw, you know, him squeezing me. And as I was getting hit and stuff like that, I thought in my head, you know, fuck, he's doing this for fucking religion. What the hell is fucking crazy? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, as he was walking, I got up and stuff like that, and as he was bigger than me too, so that explains a lot. As he was walking away, you know, I saw a few little kids looking at me, like laughing at me because I just got my ass kicked, you know. And so I grabbed that stick and, like, in an attempt to, you know, show a manhood type of thing. I was like, you know, the same stick he hit me with. I broke it over my leg and so, you know, like that, you know. Some, you know, Bruce Lee movement like that. Well, I kept those two sticks, and those two sticks, I combined them and I made the cross. You know, I made the cross back then, you know, and I sort of kept it. You know, I never joined it. You know, I just cut it out and I had it like in my drawer and stuff like that to like a remembrance type of thing. That thing fucked me up, you know, psychologically in a way, and it took me out of that sanctuary and dominion place, that peaceful place in my mind. Okay. So I had to return to that place to be tranquil because I was worried and this and that a lot of times, and it really changed my views of the world. You know, it was a very important moment in my life. You know, and so I had to return to my sanctuary and dominion, my peaceful state. So the way I did it was by you know, forgetting it existed. You know, like what, you know, a denial type of thing. The same attempt that I did with Bjork, to, you know, pretend it's not a big deal and this and that. You know, my ways of dealing with pain. Okay, in this case it worked. The cross thing, you know, that situation, it worked. Then again, about religion, you know, since I left religion and this and that, you know, there's several signs that the Bible talks about. And I remember I would be watching the news and this and that, and every so often, even now, I see, like, you know, wow, this is one of the things the Bible talks about. You know, little details and stuff, not big major things, little details that just point in further stress the fact that, you know, I'm fucked up because I'm out in the world and I should be in religion, and because the end's gonna come, and, you know, this and that. But I mean, it's funny, but it wasn't funny to me at the time, you know. That would worry me too, and this and that. And the way I would try to deal with it was not with denial, but a belittlement. I would look at those events and say, this has always been happening in the world. This is nothing new, you know, not giving it any significance. Okay, that's the way I dealt with that, and that returned me. It took me a little longer, but that did, after belittling it and not giving it too much importance, and, you know, it sort of helped me, you know. Those are two major things. It's the cross and the chain thing that has all the collage of words, you know, the way the world is and stuff like that. Two major things. Now, Bjork, okay, hit my life, and it thwarted, you know, it dwarfed all the other events, because that anxiety, okay, the anxiety is that bullet, is 20mm bullet, and the CD that's put onto it, it's like it hit me with such a force, you know, bent everything back, you know, left it hanging, you know, twisted everything, you know, in comparison, you know, because that is sanctuary and dominion. I was lost once again, okay, and my whole creation of this piece and the writing and then me telling her my story was an attempt to return to that, okay. That's basically what it is, you know, and to let her see who I am and this and that. Not too unsimilar to, you know, to what I'm doing now in a way. But anyway, the piece was 100%, and this was surprising to me because I had feared that it was just gonna, you know, yeah, it was gonna give me hope and that was gonna help, but then again I would be stuck with the anxiety. No, it helped incredibly because I had done something. Once I created this and I sent this, you know, to her, as right now my beliefs are almost 100%, like 99.9% sure that I went into that agency, you know, where those guys are at the Becker, you know, that, you know, because that's where it was, and and that's where it ended up, and who knows where it is now, probably in a garbage can. But that's not the point. The point was making it and sending it. Whether she saw it or not, I wanted her to see it, but deep down inside I knew the chances were very slim for her to see it and read it. The thing was, getting that off my chest type of thing, and telling the world that, well, not the world, but hopefully to her. That helped a lot. And it solved my anxiety. I never suffer from anxiety again. I got a few little bursts of it, but I easily controlled it because, you see, I had done something. Even though I went up the hill, and but see, that was never a peak. I never went back down to the hill. My problem was in the beginning that I started on this quest, and then boom, I went back down again. And that low feeling, that anxiety, that I'm stuck here, that claustrophobic feeling that I'm because of this I'm all fucked up. That feeling never happened again, because once I had created that, I had arisen above that. I guess whatever it was, it worked. Because it really calmed myself down, and it made me much more patient. And even though I waited for a response for a while, it was something that I wasn't all that devastated when I didn't receive nothing, because I expected not to receive anything. It was funny, but it's something you can obviously enjoy, But oh, I mean, basically that's a summary. I mean, there's millions of details that go into it, and it's very I even talk about how I cry and everything like that, and how before all my expressions to other people, my communications have been limited, and how frustrated. I told her things that I never told anybody before, or anybody had a clue. Oftentimes, of many things, it helped. It helped, even though I wasn't trying to help her or trying to influence her, because I was just trying to help myself, and it worked. It was the start of my selfishness, to self-therapy type of thing, and it helped. And I don't regret it for a second, me having sent that. The only part, well, sometimes I regret it in the fact of that I'm going to make this, and it might it might end up in my capture. But I'm going to take all the precautions necessary for that not to happen. It's something it was a very strange project. That was for sure. It was, most importantly, if ever I want to remember it as, is a visual aid, and I stress that. Okay, I don't want it to be looked at as art, because it's really not art. I mean, it can be art. Art is, like, in my book, art is in the eye of the beholder, whatever, this can be art. At the same time, this cannot be art. Painting can be art, but someone else says, no, that's not art, that's just functional. This was more functional to me than it was non-functional. It was something. It was definitely a euphoric, a very emotional roller coaster time for me. I calmed down a lot since then. Even with my anger and everything like that, I've been very passive. And I'm very surprised at my patience and it really worked. It really worked. That's why I have confidence in this, even though I'm not trying to better myself. I'm not trying to better the world. I'm not trying to better her. I'm not trying to better any situation. I'm bettering myself now, as far as my emotional feeling. My vindication feeling that I'm getting. That's why I'm doing this. But well, it's something. Oh man, I don't know what to do now. I'm a little bit sleepy, man, believe it or not. But I don't know if what do I do? Eat something? Oh, look at this shit! Look at this shit! Look at this shit! You see that? You see that? Can you see that? Can you tell me what that is? A nigger and a white chick. See that? That right there is what I hate. Look what the thing is pregnant on purpose. That's fucked up, man. I cannot believe such a cute girl like that. Okay, it was that fucking nigger, man. That's fucked up, man. That is completely fucked up, man. I hate that. I really fucking hate that. I already changed the channel because I don't want to see that. That is fucked up, man. Insect. Fucking insect, man. Maybe the guy's a nice guy. Maybe he's the best thing that ever happened to her, but you know, I shouldn't really care because, you know, I don't care about people, right? But it's not her. It's not a personal caring, and it's not like, oh no, I want the, you know, white race to prevail, and by, you know, mixing with niggers, they're not going to prevail, and this and that. It's not really about that. It's just the actual technical fact of, you know, thinking that whatever, you know, whatever. I'm not a model citizen, as you can see. You know, I'm not the what a human should be. I'm gonna stop for right now. I gotta really make sure. See, I don't know. I'm really estimating. This is one of the areas that I know least about, is her attitudes towards male, how she perceives male. That's why I want to. The trust factor is so important, and I don't want to be that trusting that somebody in your house, another person, a bodyguard or you know, a friend or something like that, will open it for her and look at it. That defeats the whole purpose. I don't want to kill anybody else besides her. I mean, I do, but not her, them personally. You know, it's going to be a waste. I mean, if I could kill all of them, yeah, I'd kill all her friends and everything like that, but that's not something I'm aiming for. You know, I don't want to miss the target. I'm going to make it very exclusive to her. To make sure, like, that's one of the important things of the self-destructing images, you know. The first one is somebody else opens it and they see that it disappears and it breaks us out. Shit, I'm going to fuck it up. There's another one. And so, I'm gonna make it look like in a way that that they could like they won't feel guilty about it. It's like, oh shit, now I fucked it up. Now she's going, oh, I fucked it up. And the way, like, if they fuck it up, it goes behind or something, and they don't. She doesn't have to necessarily know that he fucked it up or she fucked it up. So, you know, oh, you know, do you ever look? This came for you. Check it out. It's from the mail. It's like this business who makes for CDs and special editions or whatever. You know, I gotta really think about that. You know, and I'm starting to like that idea of a lesbian, even though it's gonna be such a whoa. You know, so it was a guy. It's like, fuck, man, it's scary. I want to be very clever in that, but see, I gotta remember, none of that is gonna be remembered. I mean, it's because some of it is gonna be remembered. Because it's going to be in the tape, you know. You know, but it's going to be self-destroyed, so it's different. I guess coming back to the beginning, she affected me, like I put down in the definition in the thing. And coming back, you know, the world goes back upon itself. I'm going to affect her. Like, my first mission was to affect her with joy. Now things have changed drastically, and I'm going to affect her more than anything else. And you know, I guess the fact that alone is, you know, the reason changed, but the goal is basically the same, to affect her. That's true. That's very true. Oh well. Maybe tomorrow or the next day. So I almost fucking used up a whole tape again. But hey, I gotta give myself that luxury. Maybe tomorrow I can, I'll scan through all the photographs, you know, like 1 second a piece or less than a second. You know, there's a lot of them. That way I give myself a little show. Look at this shit, man. Can't fucking believe that. Oh, another nigger lover? That's the number one reason I hate talk shows, man, because they always have interracial couples and stuff, which I hate. See, I don't really hate interracial couples. Okay, I mean, I don't mind if it's something else, unless, as long as the other person is not that black. You know, it can be anything else. You know, Chinese, Indian, you know, whatever. But I just don't like black. You know, just don't like it. Black is bad. I think I'm gonna treat myself now. I'm not sure because I don't know. I'm a little sleepy, but I don't want to fall asleep and wake up in 3 hours. You know. I think I'm gonna go and get myself some ice cream, and maybe some chips and stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. What a night! I had a great night. I started working around 8:30, and I got home a couple of minutes ago. I went to McDonald's and stuff, got me some breakfast. I did Bailey's in Niggertown. Then I picked up the key for Uncle Young, which is a homestead. Then I went into South Miami to do Juanito Quinetejas. Then after that, I went to go do Uncle Young. And Uncle Young stayed until like 4 in the morning. And then I went to the Clevelander. And I did, what's her name? Cecilia's office? Cecilia? No. Sylvia. Sylvia's office. And, I came over here from from far away. I got scared, you know. I was like, what the hell is this? And my brother left a note sitting on my door. Guess he came over here and stuff. He was calling and stuff. I wasn't here. Look what time it is. I gotta wake up at 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock I gotta wake up. I'm not gonna probably fall asleep for another hour or two. I don't know. Hopefully I'm just very sleepy now. But I was gonna buy sleeping pills, but Walgreens was closed. Okay. Check it out. I stole some soap from Uncle Young, so now I can, you know, clean. Hey, what's up? Well, the other day, yesterday, the day before yesterday. Remember that I got that note and stuff like that? Well, turned out that I planned to stay up. I said, fuck it, if I'm gonna sleep, 6 hours or 5 hours, I might as well just stay up. So I stood up. I stayed up until 12 noon. Then I accidentally fell asleep. I slept for 2 hours. Then I had to wake up. Man, that was the worst time that I can ever remember trying to get up. Oh man, I felt like my head had just caved in, man. It would have been 10 times better if I had just stayed up. Well, anyway, I worked until I don't know what time did I work in? Around 1 o'clock. And the weird thing is, I slept only about 4 hours, and I woke up around 5:35 in the morning. I was awake, and I was like, "What?" So I tried to go to sleep for the next 2 hours, and then I got up, and then I went to buy the money order for the rent, and then I what do you call it? Oh, and then I got some sleeping pills, and I took those, and boom, man, I slept all the way until like 6 o'clock. So from 8 to 6, I got enough sleep. I'm gonna go to sleep in about 20, 30 minutes. And tomorrow I gotta go to the doctor. My eyes, they're worse and worse. I came to this restaurant today, and the guy asked me, he goes, "Are you wearing makeup?" I said, "No, why?" He goes, "No, your eyes are all red and under here." And I said, "No, man, no makeup." I told him I got some chemical in my eye. Anyway, I don't know. I haven't done much in the thing. I've done a lot of writing, quotes and stuff like that while I'm sleeping. I get up and I write. Oh, I had another dream last night. Another dog dream, man. Getting bitten by a dog, man. I'm already afraid of dogs, man. I had so many dreams about me getting bitten and stuff. Yeah. Let me check something. I got these jokes that I've been wanting to say. So it's close to the end of the tape, so I might as well say them. It's pretty funny. When I first heard them I heard him from one of those books. The jokes go like this. He goes, how long does it take a black woman to take a shit? 9 months. How do you get a black man down from a tree in Alabama? Cut the rope. How do you stop a black man in Georgia from drowning? You take your foot off his head. Okay, here's a riddle. If 3 200-pound men, hold up. If 3 200-pound black men jump off from the 5th floor of a building, and 5 100-pound black women jump from the 6th story, who falls to the ground first? Think about it. Who cares? I messed up the joke. It goes something like that. What else? There's a few other ones. What are dead Haitians good for? Speed bumps. I have some other ones, but see, I'm not much of a comedian, but I like to laugh and make fun of people. What else? Well, I'm not sleepy if you telling jokes, but alright. This guy was walking by a pet store, right? And he sees a parrot. So he goes, "Oh, what a nice parrot." You know, and the parrot looks at him and goes, "Fuck you, you cocksucker. You know, you piece of shit." And the guy gets all like, and just runs away from the store. The manager says, he goes, "Oh my God, what did you do, you fucking bird? You piece of shit. I'm gonna teach you a lesson now." You know. So he goes and he takes the bird to the back, kicks the living shit out the bird. Grabs the herd, hits him across on the table. He sticks him back in his cage. The next day, the same guy passes by, and you know, he sees the bird again. And he goes, "Arr!" He goes, "Hey you." So the guy goes over. He goes, "What?" The bird goes, "You know what?" Alright. Well, same bird. A couple of weeks down the road, this lady buys him. Right? She takes him to the house. You know. And, you know, she takes him to the house. "Oh, pretty bird, pretty bird." And, you know, the bird goes, "Ah, fuck you, you fucking bitch." She goes, "Oh my God, you know, don't say that, don't say that." Next day, her son is walking by. He goes, "Hey, you little cocksucker." He goes, Mommy, the bird cussed me out." She goes, "Oh no, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?" So she goes and you know, she calls the manager of the pet store. She goes, "No, I got this problem. You know, the bird that I bought from you, you know, it's constantly, you know, cussing me out, cussing my family out." He goes, "All right, lady, this is what you gotta do. You get the bird, you stick him in the freezer for about 5 minutes. Boom, solves the problem." She goes, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Yeah, trust me on this." She goes, "Okay." She goes and grabs the bird and he goes, "Listen, bird, I'm gonna teach you a lesson, okay? You cannot say bad words anymore, okay? For your punishment, I'm gonna stick you here." She sticks him in the freezer, you know. Lets 5 minutes go by. She goes, opens the freezer up. He goes, "Okay, little bird." He goes, "Are you gonna say any more bad words?" He goes, No. One question. She goes, "Okay, what?" He goes, What did the chicken do?" You get it? You know, the chicken was frozen chicken in the freezer. Okay. This woman was getting married, right? This woman was getting married, right? And she was, she talked to her mother, She goes, Mom, yeah, I'm gonna get married tomorrow, as you know, but I have a problem. She goes, no, what's your problem? She goes, no, my fiance thinks I'm a virgin, and I'm not, and I don't know what he's gonna think of me in our honeymoon. And her mother goes up to her. She goes, look, this is what you do. You get a piece of liver, you stick it in. He'll never know the difference. and she goes, are you sure? He goes, yeah, trust me. Okay. Well, here comes the wedding night. They get married and everything. They go to the hotel room. So the husband grabs her and he fucks the living shit out of her. Right? Boom. He goes, the next morning she wakes up and she sees a note right next to the bed. She goes, honey, and the note says, dear sweetie, oh, that was the best sex I've ever had in my life. I really appreciate you this and this and that, like a love story. And P.S. Your pussy's in the sink. Oh man. Okay. Okay. Now the same couple, a few months down the road, and married and stuff, and the guy goes, the guy's having an affair, right? And so, and one night he's about to go out, and the wife goes, "Hey, where you going? Where you going?" He goes, "No, I'm gonna go, buy snails, for dinner tomorrow, like some French meal or something." And she goes, "Oh, okay." And so he goes, right? He goes 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. He come, it takes him about like 10 hours. The next morning, the wife's awake, all worried and stuff, looking for the guy. And all of a sudden the guy, he's driving home and he sees his wife waiting at the balcony going like this. He goes, oh shit, So he stops the car, so she runs down the stairs. She stops the car. He throws the box of snails on the ground. And he goes, go, come on, go, come on, go, hurry, to the snails, go. And she goes, well, what did it take you so long? Go, walk, go. Oh man. What else? Here's a stupid one. Why did the King Kong climb the Empire State Building? He couldn't fit through the elevator. Why aren't there any pools in Mexico? Because all the ones that can swim are over here. Why do black men walk around with their zippers open? So they can count to 11. Let me think. I got millions. Okay, these two guys, right? Their plane crashes and stuff like that, and they end up in the middle of nowhere, So they survive the crash, obviously. So they're walking for miles and miles across countryside. Not a house in sight, not a person in sight. Finally, a few hours later, as they're walking by, they see a big old farm, and they see a farmhouse there. And they haven't eaten for days. They haven't drank hardly. Spoke, and like I was saying, a lot has happened. 1 month exactly, just about. The second was the last time I spoke. A couple of weeks back, something very important happened. I got a call from my mom. Very, very worried about me and stuff like that, and my dad. They had spent the earlier night speaking to each other about me and my condition and stuff like that. They don't know But you know, she wanted me to come over there and stuff like that. I don't know what she knows about me as far as my present condition. And she did speak with George before. He only has a glimpse of what really is going on or was going on. Now, she was very, very worried, even crying a little bit. Asking me if I want to move over there. It's no problem. This and that. You know, all I need to get is just a Mickey Mouse job, and I'll have food, shelter, not worry about anything. But I stressed her out. Everything is okay and stuff like that. And my dad, he was the first one who talked to me. He goes, "Look, we need you over here." And I sort of paused and I said, "Oh, what do you need?" He goes, "No, we need you." And I was like, "Wow, what the hell does he mean?" But he was giving me an option. He told me to consider moving down there and stuff like that. They're under the impression that I'm having a hard time over here. But I'm not really. As far as financially, I'm doing okay. But it was just very moving. That whole week, I couldn't sleep, and I had to start taking sleeping pills and stuff like that, not to think about that, because I felt guilty as hell. Guilty as hell. Another major thing linked with that was that, and also before I say that, I wanted to know if I had a gun again. He goes, "Are you sure you don't have any arms with you, any weapons with you?" I said, "No, Mom." He goes, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah, don't worry about it, don't worry about it." She goes, "If you love us, please don't ever buy a gun. Because I think probably I'm going to kill myself or something, I don't know. I don't know what George has told him. But, it's something interesting. Now, about Bjork. I started thinking that week, especially. So, you know what? She's not worth the trouble. I put in balance, who should I dedicate my attention to? My mother or a complete stranger? Of course, your mother. And so I put it more into perspective. Now, as far as my plans that I had with her, notice I used the word had. It has been temporarily postponed. Why? Well, partially because of the worrying about my mother. Right now, my first attention is with my mother. As a matter of fact, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be going to Uruguay to visit her. I will talk about that in a second, but I saw we rented a porno movie and stuff like that. And the next day I got it, and it was a gangbang one. And Ralph wanted to get that. I saw it at my house, he saw it at his. Not together. They showed this one chick getting fucked by like 12, 14 guys. All different kinds. Black, white, Chinese, Spanish, everything. And it sort of put it in perspective. It's like, doesn't really matter what, black, white, or whatever. It's the same thing. Sex is sex. I don't know. It was like sort of a calming down as far as of her being with a black man. I don't know. It's just like it has lost some of its enthrallment over me. I was very pissed off at the beginning, but let me show you something. I received this about 3 weeks ago. This is from our fan club. This is the first recognition of my name by anybody in Bjork's honor. Ricardo Lopez. They got my address wrong. My suite number. At the bottom it says, to send for 4 issues of her magazine here, fan magazine that's going to be coming out. I also received, if you can see, uh, the ID magazine, which I ordered a few while ago. There's a real nice picture in here for her. She looks very old, but very like mature. Wow, that looks fucking cool as hell, man. Basically, in that article it spoke about, for the first time I read an article, a whole interview on her without me getting distressed. And something which I always knew, and I wrote about it in my diary, my old diary, is that the reason why I believe, and this is a realization that I made, a couple of years back, trying to figure out who she was in that period like that. The reason why she's so, not eccentric, well, she is eccentric, but why she's so, weird, so, always on the cutting edge type of personal philosophies for music and her clothing, always trying to stand out. Because I always thought that, when she was little, being that she's Chinese, like eyes, she's got the slow-eyed, she may have been made fun of because in Iceland's a pure breed almost of, Hitler said, it was a perfect example of the Aryan race. So I'm sure she was made fun of. And in fact, in the article, it talked about that she was called the China girl. I think I even used the same word. And, and this sort of